are going to go over this campaign. They got about one lead per 130 contacted. So I'm just going to go over the four things that I think made this campaign work specifically. And at the end, I'll give you some tips and tricks to how you can implement this into your campaign and use these kind of methods to make cold email perform for yourself. So going into it, the first thing that I think made this campaign perform is the relevancy. So we're targeting only fractional CFOs, and this is off of maps. And so part of it could be they don't get as many emails because their maps leads, depending on where they're scraped from, if they're scraped from smaller cities or whatever. And the sequence, we're going to go straight into this. It's just fractional CFO question mark. Hi, hello. There's not even a first name variable, no enrichment. Hi, hello. I'll preview it. Would you be open to jumping on a call with 10 to 20 SMBs per month that need a fractional CFO? So we're calling out their ICP, SMBs usually, and then that need a fractional CFO. So it's very specific. And I mean, there's not much more relevant data points I could add to this short email approach. So that relevancy angle, I think really made it perform. One thing I would have probably expected from relevancy angle is a higher reply rate because usually people like law of reciprocity. To some extent, if they think that you actually wrote the email for them, they feel more inclined to reply rather than if it's just a mass outreach spam email. But we did get a high positive reply rate percentage. Let's see without auto replies. Yeah, very high. So if the people actually saw it, they're pretty positive about it. Um, yeah, so the first thing is definitely relevancy, and then the next thing I had was the one liner. So that's an approach that I've been using for over a year now, and it keeps performing. It's a really good approach to test if your offer has good like product market fit, and you just pitch it in one line. You test different framings of it. So one of them might be, if I could, let's see what I said here. Would you be okay with jumping on a call with 10 to 20 whatever per month? Another framing could be, hey, I could book you this many calls per month. Or it could be, hey, I could hand you closed deals if I do some of the sales sides or whatever. But just different offer framings, but just with a one line approach, very direct. And there is still stuff you can split test with the one line approach, but it isolates the variable of the copywriting a bit more securely, so it's a bit easier. Sometimes for campaigns that are a bit more of a hard sell or difficult campaigns, you'll need to try other angles. But by and large, the one line approach works very well, and I think it worked well for this campaign. And didn't really need to run anything else. Like we didn't run any split tests. I just knew, okay, this is probably going to perform. Yeah. So the one line approach, the relevancy, and then the third thing I had written down was good follow up. So the follow up was just doubling down on the relevancy. This would be a fractional CFO, just to be clear. That that's how I usually do my follow up. So after 2 days, the subject line is just re whatever the first thing was, re fractional CFO. This would be a fractional CFO, just to be clear. Like that builds a lot of interest into the first message, and it's very relevant type of thing someone would say. And so the follow up actually got about the same amount of opportunities as the initial email, which is quite cool to see. I mean, that happens in a decent amount of campaigns when you have a really good first message and then a good follow up that makes them read the first message. So yeah, good follow up definitely made a difference on this. And then the last one that I was kind of thinking about is the timing that we sent this. So this was a campaign that we ran in January, so a little bit ago, like a week or two, yeah, about a week ago. Um, and of course, fractional CFOs, right? The CFO financial advisors or whatever. This is tax season, so that probably makes a difference in your approach. I'm not an expert on CFOs and how their businesses work, but that's just something to think about. I mean, from a marketing perspective, sometimes, at least I did a while ago when I was running cold email, I just saw it as cold email. I didn't really see it as marketing. But this is B2B marketing. You have to think about every single variable that you can factor in. That's actually going to make a quantified difference. So time of market makes a huge difference in who you're targeting. And if you can work with fractional CFOs, but also a bunch of different types of businesses, maybe in January you target your fractional CFOs, and then at a different time of the year you target a different type of business that's going to be doing good at that time of year. For example, like landscapers around the spring because they might be getting more business around then. So that's something to think about. It's not just cold email. You're not just writing a script, adding a lead list, and doing an offer, even though I might say that sometimes to make it sound simple. But this is B2B marketing. So you have to think about it from a marketing perspective and apply those principles to this. So those are the four things that I think made this campaign specifically perform well. But in terms of your own campaigns, if you have struggling campaigns, or I guess you're trying to improve the metrics of your campaigns, what I would always say, and the longer I do outbound, the more I realize this, is that who you're running the campaigns for. So this could be your clients, this could be yourself, like the business. That is going to make the biggest difference in the results of the campaigns. Which means if you have a mediocre person at cold email that's running cold email for a business just with amazing offer and amazing targeting, they're most likely going to perform a way better than a really good cold emailer who's working with a business with no product market fit and a bad offer and targeting. So for me, choosing who I work with makes the biggest difference out of anything I could do, and if my campaigns are gonna get results. So being flexible with the offer, and then it always comes down to just offer targeting. What are you offering? Who are you targeting? And you can break it down to different pieces. You want medium to high ticket size because of just how the conversions work. You make more money when it's higher ticket. Because if you think about it, like if you're trying to sell something that's $10,000 versus $1,000, the difference is usually not going to be a 10x difference in metrics. So the 10x difference in price is going to make it more profitable. That's just a pretty simple thing. Um, and then having product market fit. And so if you've done some research into cold outbound, you've probably heard a lot, right? The good offer and the targeting, but what exactly does that actually mean? Well, there's no just very definitive, like you meet this or you don't meet this. People could make that and it might be able to assist you, but it's not going to fully tell you. You want medium to high ticket offer for cold email specifically. That helps a lot for what I do and the approach that I've gotten good at, B2B, and then a target addressable market. So the amount of people that you could work with, not just your very best ICP, your target addressable market, ideally over 30,000 people, maybe over 10,000 people, so that you can send a decent amount of volume to get the metrics to be able to get and sign a decent amount of clients. So if you fit those criteria and you want to make cold outbound work for yourself, you can either, text me on my X or like drop a comment and I can answer in your questions or try to help you out. Or you can just book a call with me in the description and I can see if we could work together and see if your business would be a good fit. So that being said, have a great day and I will talk to you soon.